Hey everyone, it's Jamie from IndependenceStNola and Seasons and Ritual, and I'm here with my good friend Helen, the Crimson Cadaverous,
Hi.
also in outer space.
Yes, we're in outer space together but apart.
Yeah, together but apart.
Yeah.
So this is a big week. We're talking a lot about a lot of it actually off camera. So we're excited to talk about this week. But for you guys that may or may not have listened to my Supreme Court and the retrograde planets, I did say on that video that I was going to ask Helen about her idea about Neptune retrograde because of what was written in this book. So I'm going to read it to you, okay? What this author said, what Neptune retrograde means to him, okay?
Yeah.
And I did tell the people, or did say in that other video too, that a lot of these things, like I mentioned to you, they don't resonate now like they did before because the energy keeps moving. But let me read what he says when Neptune goes retrograde. The psychic sensitivity is distanced from outer reality. It is easily distorted by subjective factors, but relatively free of interference from logical function. And so I wanted to get your idea on that.
So to me, I mean, if I'm gonna update this, like, and take it out of that, like, kind of like archaic patriarchal, framework that clearly was written in, which,
Yes,
we can give some allowance for, it is what it is.
it is. Yeah.
Moving forward,
Mhm.
if I was gonna translate that to me, I would say what he's trying to say is that when Neptune is retrograde, it might, because we are in this like reflective state, we
Mhm.
might actually be kind of like leaving ourselves open for like other people to kind of like distort, like create illusions,
Yeah.
or like pull the wool over our eyes. But we actually, if we can go within ourselves
Mhm.
and just kind of, wall that off and be like, let the reality be our own reality and just kind of like connect, to source through
Source.
ourselves,
Uh-huh.
we actually won't, that basically won't be penetrable for us. So we just have to like kind of be mindful of the fact that like everyone kind of has their own truth in a way, and especially
Mhm.
when we're in this reflective period, and we need to kind of just be like, I guess, kind of stay in our own lanes and be mindful of our own truth.
Okay, good. That's good because I feel like I was saying this was still a time to really use discernment,
Yeah.
like if you feel like you can sense it, you see it, no matter what's coming to you or being presented to you, it's important for you to stay, I guess like you're saying, like connected to spirit
Yeah.
to get where we want to go. Because I was talking about, the Supreme Court stuff. So
Yes. Well, yeah. And I think, we have to like kind of use discernment with those things too. So,
yeah.
yes, definitely.
Retrogrades.
But also, Neptune kind of, when Neptune goes retrograde, like, things kind of are revealed, like the veils are lifted. So we're definitely kind of seeing that with a lot of things.
I agree. And what's very interesting too, and then we'll get into the week just real fast. When the lunar nodes shift, that south node is moving into Libra.
Yes. I was thinking about that today, actually. I can't remember. Somebody was doing a video about it. I'll think about it by the end of the video, maybe.
Uh-huh.
But
Was it me?
basically,
It
the
wasn't
way
me.
I'm thinking about it is like, we're now figuring out how to find balance between like how we connect with like everyone else and how we actually stay connected with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of that like purge with like the Scorpio on the South Node and like that just kind of like getting rid of like all that like deep karmic stuff like was preparing us to like basically like build a stronger foundation for ourselves so that we can be stronger for, the whole.
Yeah, I love that. I was saying the scales of justice. We're going to
Yeah.
be purging the scales of justice.
No, I think so too. I mean, I think, and again, going back to karma, like I
Mhm.
think there's definitely, and I think sometimes we say karma and we think of it and go, oh,
I
but
know.
like karma is just a way, another way of like thinking of balancing things out, basically. So like there's good
Yeah.
karma, there's bad karma. And like I don't even think moving into this time that we're in currently, I don't even like to think of it as good or bad. It just is. It's just like what we're releasing, what we're moving into.
And I think too, like that, the way that you're the way you're explaining karma too is just another way of showing how energy and the way we process things have changed.
Yes.
like so quickly, because before it would be like bad karma or whatever.
Well,
So
and it's interesting because this full moon that's coming up early tomorrow morning as we're recording this. So Monday morning, I'm
yep.
sorry, I'm skipping right into it.
Yeah, go. Well, we
Um,
need to.
yeah, I
Monday
know, right?
will be the
The
Capricorn
Capricorn
full moon. Super.
is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn, of course, has had, traditionally this kind of like bad rap for being like the karma lord that's like, big sky daddy that's going to like spank us and tell us we're bad. But
Mhm.
he just like wants us to have solid foundations and like do what we need to do that's good for ourselves. And like to me, I'm almost starting to see that more as like active self-love to
Yeah.
like build solid foundations, do the homework before you go out and play, as I always say with Saturn.
Because you were saying on Friday was Saturn Uranus square, correct?
That was today, actually.
Oh, today was the Saturn
Wait, no,
Uranus
no,
square.
no, no. Today was, excuse me, Venus squaring Uranus.
Venus squaring Uranus. Well, what
Yeah.
was Saturn? Was Saturn not in a square last week? Did I just
Um,
make it up?
we might have been looking at a different week. I feel like we
Okay.
had squares. We've had a lot of squares recently. Everybody's
Okay.
been.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So Monday, the full moon in Capricorn.
Yes. And so that
So
happens early in the morning.
okay.
So actually, we get to experience the full moon basically 2 nights in a row because, like, where we're at least in
Right.
this part of the world. So it's like it'll be full tonight and it'll be full Monday night as well.
Okay.
And it's a super moon.
It's a
So, like,
super
when you think
moon.
about super moons, it's closer to the Earth. So it
Mm-hmm.
appears larger. So more reflection, like we're, lots of illumination. And with this being, Capricorn Cancer axis, so the moon's in Capricorn, the sun's in Cancer, it's like we're illuminating, ways that we haven't necessarily been building the strongest foundations, or also ways we haven't necessarily been nurturing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this ability to kind of like see this in the light and go, all right, well, maybe we need to do a little course correction.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. And I'm gonna do a full moon video tomorrow, so I'll leave most of that my thoughts for that.
Okay.
Everything is content. Everything is content. Everything is content. Okay.
Content.
Content.
Um,
Okay. But
but we
well, I
also
will just say this though.
oh,
That moon in Capricorn, I find it coming at a very interesting time as well, because Capricorn is work, Capricorn is
yeah,
money, Capricorn is stability,
yeah,
Capricorn is being practical. And I know I keep going back to those Supreme Court rulings, but that was a lot of like gut punches for people, and it made them feel
yeah.
worthless. It made them feel like not appreciated. It made them feel like I already said worthless, but like no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to get ahead. They're not going to be able to pay their bills. And this full moon in Capricorn is illuminating, like you said, because it's that Capricorn Cancer axis where we need to see things differently about ourselves, and where we need to come in more, like you're saying, with our spiritual self and how we value ourselves. Course
Hmm.
correct. Like you said, course correct.
Well, and it's interesting that you talk about like seeing things differently because we also have Mercury opposite the moon at the same time. So like Mercury and the sun are pretty close to a conjunction. They had one this week.
Hmm.
So basically like Mercury is kind of like helping like almost like turning the light on in our mind
Hmm.
and like being like, okay, there's some things we need to see.
Yeah, there's some things we need to say or maybe call bullshit on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Definitely. And I think that's actually going to be really easy for us because we've got the moon trining Jupiter and Uranus. So
Hmm.
like easily changing to be, I mean, I guess like a little bit like more in line with what's right for us. Like
Yeah.
getting away from these like old narratives that like just don't we just don't want to
Resonate.
tell anymore.
Yeah, they don't resonate with us
Yeah.
anymore. Get out of that victim energy. Okay. Would you like to move on to Tuesday?
Yes. I
Okay.
think Tuesday's kind of interesting because it's like we're still in the full moon energy.
It's the 4th of July. What the fuck are we celebrating?
I know, which okay, I just want to mention
Uh,
I think we may have said this at some point in time in one of our videos, if not whatever. Um, the that Pluto right now is retrograde, and
mhm.
in particular is going to move back to almost the same place as the U.S. Pluto return that we had
Mhm.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really interesting is we're getting back to that place during 4th of July. And we're seeing all these things,
Yeah.
definitely we've already talked about it with the country. And it's like, on July 4th, what I think is really interesting is this Pluto that's like only a couple of degrees off from US Pluto return
Mm-hmm.
is conjunct the moon.
That's so wild.
So I'm just gonna, and also squaring the North Node, which it's like, to me, that's like, you know, a deep excavation of the old stuff that needs to come out so we can
Mhm.
move forward. Like, what are we going to be done with? What are we going to like be honest with ourselves about so we can move forward?
Because the moon will move into Aquarius that same day on the 4th of July.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
our
So like,
saving
right
grace.
after that conjunction.
Yeah. After that conjunction with Pluto. And that is our saving grace because Aquarius is
Yep.
the future. And
Mhm.
Aquarius knows that all men are created equal.
Yep.
Aquarius understands what the what is that? The Constitution actually says.
Right.
Okay. So then now we're back into it. Now I can put my hand on my heart. Okay. So the moon will move into Aquarius on the same day, and then it'll trine Sirius, right? In
And
Libra,
Vesta, which
invest.
I feel like is just a really like harmonious energy to nurture ourselves and like kind of reignite like our passion around any kind of causes that we've had.
Because you have Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. Those are all air signs.
Yes, so it's kind of like a grand air trine with that
Hmm.
energy. So I
Yeah,
think it's obviously a very brief energy, but I definitely feel like there's something like almost kind of like brewing, like almost like if you want to like join some like grassroots community or something, like this is the day to do it.
let's do it. July 4th. Let's do it. Let's take let's remember what it was like the foundations that we love about this country and like how we love one another and how we love our neighbor and how we see how special it is because it really is a melting pot and it there's more of us. That's what I said, that there's more of us than there are of them. So
Yes, exactly.
okay,
Well,
Wednesday, Moon Aquarius will square
yes. Ooh,
Jupiter.
I
Oh,
want to
go ahead.
mention. Oh, I want to mention. Do you want to talk about the Sirius?
Yes. I was like,
Yeah.
don't forget, and I totally forgot. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
so we've got Sirius, which is actually a fixed star in the sky that is considered our spiritual star. So like
Mhm.
kind of like our I don't know how you would even say that, like our true north or like, how we connect to source, I guess.
Mhm.
And so whenever the sun forms a conjunction with Sirius, so they'll both be in Cancer at that point, which,
Mhm.
that's where Cancer or Sirius is. It's like we're reigniting our like spiritual like reconnecting with our spiritual star, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
reconnecting with our spiritual sun, I always say, yeah. Our
Yeah.
spiritual, yeah.
So I think again, we've had this energy with like Neptune going retrograde, with this full moon coming in, like of really just like reconnecting to self, but also to source. And it's almost like remembering that there's like this like string that connects us to everything.
And that's important to get reconnected to that because this is a lot of strong energy to move us forward to where we are as spiritual beings. But we can't lay in the mud. Like we can't get mired down
No.
with these things. When we go back to our true source and connect to that, we can see the path forward. We can see the path out. We can see how we can help ourselves and our neighbors. So
Yeah.
I find it very interesting that all those rulings came down right before this full supermoon in Capricorn and the Sirius gateway and the 7-7 portal, which we'll get to later in the week.
Yes,
All
exactly.
highly spiritual, high vibrational energies smashing into the planet. I find that so interesting.
It is really interesting. And, somewhere along the way recently, we've had a solar storm too. So, like, there's a lot of things that are like kind of just coming our way that almost are like beacons of hope for like this time that, like, really does kind of seem chaotic and weird. But it's
Yeah.
like, it's almost just kind of like this, like, period of great upheaval so that things can kind of like shift in a different direction. Like,
I
you
agree.
can't like, move in a different direction if things don't shift away.
And that's Uranus.
Yes. And like
Yeah.
he keeps just like cropping up, throughout the week too. He's got on Thursday, he's got a square with Mercury, like he just kind of is coming in, just kind of be like, remember, we got to change things up.
Yeah.
Remember, can't keep it the same way.
No. So Wednesday, were you to Wednesday?
Yes, I think we're about to jump into Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday. The moon in Aquarius. The moon will be in Aquarius all day Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to square Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus.
Yes.
That's going to be an interesting day.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to come in. Oh wait, sorry. It's going to square Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus and Lilith, who is in Leo.
Yes. And I think that is some hugely, I can't emphasize this enough, hugely liberating like energy right there.
Yeah.
Because Aquarius, moon in Aquarius, of course, rebellious, humanitarian.
Hmm.
And then Lilith, she is the liberator. She takes us away from anything that isn't true to us. And
Hmm.
Uranus is the great awakener.
Yeah.
So it's like we're really, really moving away from like that old paradigms that just kind of had us stuck in like, master servant, like people
Yeah.
up. We were talking today about like putting people up on pedestals. Like, why do
Mhm.
we put statues and people up on pedestals? And it's like, we're all the same. Like, why are we
Yeah.
not like, everyone should be down together? And I
Right.
think it's kind of the energy almost of Wednesday. It's just like remembering and a sextile to Chiron.
Which I think that's really
Yeah.
interesting. That sextile to Chiron and Aries kind of makes me think if someone tries to gaslight people that day, they're gonna be like, "Who cares? Been
Yeah.
there, done that, got the t-shirt. I don't give a shit."
Yeah. I definitely feel like there's just going to be a lot of like just kind of like not putting up with that anymore. And
Yeah.
just like, and actually in a really, I feel like again in a very hopeful way because we've got the square to Jupiter, where it's going to be like, all right, if you want to jump on, this like liberation train, like it's going to work out for you.
Yep.
Just remember, like, the old paradigms are not where we want to stay.
No, and we can't. We can't
No.
stay.
I mean, we've already gone.
Right.
It's just more like feeling our way into what this all feels like to be in a different paradigm.
Yeah, and I think too, like what kind of came up was like the fact that they're realizing that one case that was brought in Colorado about that woman, that it was a false case. So
Yes, I heard that this morning too, and I was like, again, Neptune retrograde. It's like all these like veils kind of being
right.
lifted, where it's like, everybody's trying to pull the wool over our eyes, but we're seeing it, and we're like, no,
And that's Lilith and Leo.
yeah,
Being like,
yeah,
no,
helping
no,
with that.
not
Yeah,
going
there's
back in the closet, not being quiet, not none of that shit.
oh yeah, there's a lot of rebellious energy all week, but specifically on Wednesday of just like kind of like questioning authority, questioning who is going to tell us what we need to be doing with our lives.
It's gonna be a great holiday with my family.
I think it's going to be just a great holiday because I think we're going to start celebrating, like you said, like what it really means to,
Yeah,
love where we live and things like that.
in the melting pot that we are. Okay, Thursday. The moon will be in Aquarius in the morning.
Yes.
Okay.
And then eventually, I can't remember what time of day moves into Pisces.
Okay. And then when it moves into Pisces, it'll be conjunct Saturn.
Yes. So
Who is
again, we've got like Saturn, playing a big role this week, of course, had the Capricorn full moon and all that. But now
mhm,
we've got a conjunction with Saturn, like almost kind of just like checking back in with that same energy that we're still lingering in. It's only a couple days after the full moon. So we're still kind of in that energy a little bit.
mhm.
And now we're kind of just like getting a little even more pragmatic about it. Like whatever we, kind of came up through that full moon, like now what are we doing with it?
Yeah.
What are we releasing? What are we kind of reconfiguring? Um, and I think it does have a lot to do with, kind of our spiritual selves because we've got Saturn in Pisces while this is happening. Of course, the moon in Pisces. And then
Mm-hmm.
we also have a square with Vesta, which Vesta, is of course our spiritual flame. So it's like almost
Invest.
kind of like finding a way to like reignite our spiritual flame.
Yep, because Vesta's in Gemini, and Gemini is all about options. Bring me the options, baby. Bring me more options. Yep.
Yes. Oh, and yeah, we're thinking of more options definitely with that Mercury sextile in Uranus.
Yep.
So it's like we're definitely thinking we are truly able to think about things differently, and that's what's going to move us forward.
Yep. And you guys have to remember Uranus is still in Taurus. And Taurus again is money, practicality, earth, and I mean earth by like being grounded, but it is that like being practical how you value yourself, being practical how you value others, being practical about what you do to make money, all these sorts of things, right? So that conversation coming in is all like, oh, wait. We've got way more options and way more ways we can see this. And that Mercury in Cancer again is going to be talking about how to nurture this.
Yeah.
Because that Mercury in Cancer will be sextiling that Uranus. Yeah, we'll be sextiling that Uranus and Taurus energy as well.
Yes. And yeah, it's just definitely like almost like kind of like nurturing the new earth that we're trying to birth. And I did not, I'm
trying to
not
birth.
it, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Friday, the moon will be in Pisces all day.
Yes. And this is the 7-7 portal.
Do I always say this? Do we always have a lot of moon and Pisces on Friday? Because I always feel like moon and Pisces on Friday, we're gonna cry all day. I think I feel like I say that all the time. That's
I
like
don't know, maybe
a
we just
joke.
like notice it when it actually is.
Okay, maybe. So go ahead. Yeah, 7-7 portal.
Yes. So 7-7 portal, which obviously, a lot of people consider seven a lucky number.
Mystic.
It's definitely like when you think about like seven, like in the form of like tarot and things like that, it's kind of like that, like I always think of it as like the perseverance number, like where you're kind of like, you're moving past the halfway point, but you're not quite there yet, but you're like still determined, still doing it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a good energy for like when you think of like July 7th. It's like, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's the summer and it's like you're still doing it. We're
Yeah.
still alive, no matter how hot it is.
Yeah. I always see the number 7 as lucky. I see it as the mystic, which is funny because it is moon and Pisces. I also see it like as alchemy. To me, 7 is the perfect balance of science and magic.
Hmm.
3.5, 3.5. But how does that work? We don't know because it's magic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so the moon and Pisces will be trining Juno and the sun, who are both in
Yeah,
Cancer. So that's beautiful.
that's actually like a really nice day. I feel like
Yeah.
that actually is going to be kind of like almost like a breath of fresh air because, like, we may have some like, I don't want to say challenging energy at the beginning of the week. It's just going to be heavy.
You
I
can
think,
say challenging.
Saturn,
Yeah.
Capricorn, so like Saturn, Capricorn, heavy kind of energy where it's like it's going to push us, it wants us to work for it. But then, like that moon in Pisces, trine Juno and the sun, sextile Jupiter, it's like, all right, you can have a little fun, you can enjoy life, you can celebrate.
You can
Um,
see you can see all the good things that we actually do have going for us.
yes. So I think it's going to be kind of like it's perfect for Friday, I feel like, because that's like
Yeah.
that, end of the like, traditional work week. So it's like, all right, it's almost like, the Hawaiian shirt day or like jeans Friday or something, like, but like hopefully it's better than that actually,
Yeah.
because I never understood why that was a reward.
Yeah. Jeans Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, Saturday, the moon will be in Pisces for the first half of the day,
Yes.
trining Mercury in Cancer. So that's a lot of communication, you guys. And again, it's important, like we were talking about earlier, because it'll be conjunct Neptune as well.
Yeah.
And Neptune is retrograde. So it's important to use your discernment, see what you
Hmm.
feel, see what your source is telling you, and not, I mean, you can read the papers, but you don't have to believe them
Yeah.
because it's what you feel. It's where you want to go.
Yeah. It's definitely, yeah. Again, connecting with source so that you can actually, be your own source, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, later in the day, the moon will move into Aries,
Yes.
and it's going to be opposite Sirius.
Yeah, which I think I kind of like that because again, that's actually a really nice nurturing vibe too. Because again, Aries is the self,
Hmm.
and it's almost like kind of looking across at Ceres, which is the great nurturer, going like, how are we nurturing ourselves? Where do we need to kind of reconfigure a little bit, do a little better, come, show up a little better for ourselves.
Yeah.
And again, sextile Uranus with the moon right before the moon moves into Aries, almost like kind of like adds to that, like doing it differently, you
Yeah.
know, it and easily doing it differently, where it's like, all right, I see how I've been doing this, but got to do it a different way.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that you said easily doing it differently. Like it is, I mean, Uranus shocks us. Like all that stuff came in. Oh my God. So,
Yeah.
carpe diem, all this energy, friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunday, the moon in Aries. Now, we were talking about this too before we got on. camera that it's the last quarter moon in the same week as we had a full moon.
Yeah, and that usually doesn't happen. It's usually like
No.
you can see it like on the next Monday or something, or
Right.
even sometimes the next Tuesday, just depending upon like kind of how it falls. But that's interesting to me because I again feel like this day, or I'm sorry, this week started off heavy Saturn Capricorn energy of like, let's get a plan, let's work, let's
Yeah.
move this. And we're kind of ending it with um yeah, like kind of that energy, too, like it, but
But
in a
it's
different
still,
way, actually,
well, I was
in a
gonna
different
say,
way.
I'm
We're
sorry.
we always are working. I guess where I'm going with that is with our quarter moons, whether it be the first quarter or last quarter, there's an amount of work behind it because they're the action moons.
Yeah.
They're the ones where we're actually like, all right, what are the things we decided we need to release? Okay, let's actually do the release work. So that's with this last quarter moon, it's definitely like, all right, what is the release work we kind of committed to at the beginning of the week that now we actually have to do something about?
Yeah, I think, and because it is the moon in Aries squaring the sun in Judo and Cancer, it's still like, okay, how are we going to start this relationship with ourselves? How are we going to nurture this relationship with ourselves? Because it's
Yeah.
also sextiling again, Vesta and Gemini, I mean, Vesta's that spiritual flame. It's sort of like the same story, what we started kind of in the beginning, middle, and ending the week with.
Yeah.
Mercury and Cancer trining Neptune and Pisces again. It's like, are we going to believe what we know as our personal truths
Yeah.
and going to start working with that? Or are we going to just still like be like, oh, well, the news said this, so that must be true, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
do feel like this is a big week of spiritual truths, reconnecting
Mhm.
to our spiritual self and really giving ourselves a workout, like showing up of this is who I am now. I've released a lot of stuff, like we were saying. So how do I move forward with this new way of being and this really like this new way of feeling?
Yes. There's definitely that. And like, I think that's the important part is the new way of feeling because I think for a while we've been like kind of intellectualizing how things need to be different.
Ugh, yeah,
Really known exactly how to feel it, you
right,
know, and that's really important because, when you're like totally, have things all set up the way you want to, it's easy enough, obviously, to like intellectualize how you want things to be differently. But, in the moment, we obviously want to be able to react in a way where we actually honor that.
right.
And I think we're kind of moving into that energy where we actually can feel our way through it, where we can react in that way that, honors what we know is true intellectually.
Which is important because our minds fool us, but our feelings, like we always say, I was fooled by my feelings, but not usually. Like we usually have a feeling and then we talk ourselves out of it.
Yes. I
But
think
our minds will be
that's
like,
really important. Yeah.
but our minds will be like, did that, or if like we see something, we're like, well, I saw it, but
Mhm.
that's
I
not
think that's really important to mention because I think in our modern world, we've kind of talked our way out of our intuition.
right,
We tell ourselves that, like, these feelings you're having, that's not, where's the concrete proof,
right.
And in a way, sometimes our intuition is like the one thing that we can truly trust.
Yeah,
On anybody can tell us anything they want.
right.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it's true.
Right.
And in a way, it is kind of gaslighting us when, we kind of lean into that outer truth. And I think in a way that kind of brings us back to what we were talking about with the Neptune retrograde.
Hmm.
It, like I was saying in the book, it, you know, we have to believe our inner truth and like kind of like wall off that, whatever that outside squawking basically is that,
Yeah.
sometimes we just have to like discern and discard.
Right. Because people have agendas, you know?
Yes. Exactly. And we will never truly know what that agenda might be. So it's like you just have to kind of like be in your own truth and
Right.
move away.
Yep. And just kind of bebop to your own beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and we're doing it now, you guys. We're doing it. So it's happening, it's evolving, and we're doing it. So we're just all starting to do it together. So
Yeah. And that's, I think, this kind of collective shift we're going through, especially since the nodes are about to shift, we're getting into a
Venus,
place where we can actually be there and feel these things.
yeah. So All right. Good week, everybody.
Yeah,
Good week.
it's a big one. Just do the work. As long as you do the work, Saturn will reward you.
Yep. Just do it and just do it every day. Just
Yeah.
a little bit every day. Every day. You just commit to it every day. And then next thing you know, it just keeps changing.
Yeah.
All right, friend. Are you going to write about the full moon, or have you already written about the full moon?
I think I will definitely, I did a little bit this morning, but I'll do a little bit tomorrow morning, just talking about it in real time. And,
Yes.
I think the most important thing that we want to remember is, we've got a lot of opportunity to work with this full moon.
Yeah.
It's kind of spread out over a, good chunk of time, and it's a super moon, it's Capricorn, and it's like, I always say like Capricorn is connected to the bones. So do what you feel in your bones.
All right. I love it. Okay, you guys, I'll be putting up a full moon video sometime tomorrow as well. And until then, if you want to reach out to me or Helen, you can get us on Instagram or YouTube or
Yeah.
my websites.
Hmm.
So, until then, have a safe have a safe holiday weekend.
Yes.
Have a happy 4th of July.
Yes. And
We
actually, Monday is my dad's birthday. So I'm going to say happy birthday. I don't know if he's listening or not, but
happy
shout out to my
birthday.
dad. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And then we'll see you guys next Sunday.
Yep.
We'll check in. We'll see how the week went for the both of us.
Yeah.
All right, till next time, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.